Good afternoon, everybody. Scott Bauer with me.
Oh,
Oh, what's going on, man? You're right live in the SIBO pit, man.
I am standing here as we speak, right in the middle, in the heart of the S&P 500 option pit, the SPX.
All right, let's talk about it. What's going on down there? It seems pretty quiet right now.
It's very quiet right now. About an hour ago, it was rocking when we saw that move after Trump said earlier at Davos that he doesn't want to use force. So when we saw that market move from essentially unchanged up a little bit, all the way up to 60, 70 in the S&Ps, it got really, really, really busy here. Almost like there may have been a lot of short covering from some
Hmm.
retail. Now that we've come back in, and I think cooler heads are prevailing, and I think people are saying, oh, okay, that was really good, but nothing has changed, right?
Right.
So here we are. What is really interesting is that we saw the VIX, which traded higher this morning, almost 21 on that big rally up. That hit a low of just over 17. Now we have rallied back a little bit here, and we're sitting right at 1870 or so. But that to me was pretty telling. And Steve, I think what we're noticing is the market is not immune still to tweets, whatever you want to call them, truth socials, whatever it is. The market is not immune to it, and we can see big market moves as soon as something comes out.
Yeah, and you see this pullback here. You go from on the SPY itself, the Qs, you go from 610 all the way to 616 back to 610. It was like a round tripper, was it we call it in the floor, right?
Yep.
What is it that's in the prevailing markets right now? Are people just not liking Trump speak now? Or what's really going on here?
I think there's just a lot of unease, right? I mean, the market does not like uncertainty. And, throw the fact that we're right in the middle of earnings season now, or we've just kicked it off. We've got major economic reports coming out tomorrow. We've got GDP, PCE. Another one to watch tomorrow is there's a 10-year TIPS auction. So with the bond market kind of going haywire right now, with the 10-year approaching 4.3%, there are a lot of things that can kind of shift the narrative in the market. And then, oh yeah, we have the tariff, salvo that was thrown across the bow again, and Trump's rhetoric, which I'll be honest, this is not political, so nobody get angry with me. Honestly, you just don't know what the heck the guy is saying, and the market doesn't like that.
Yeah, I mean, uncertainty is always a big question mark, especially. But this morning, it almost felt like he was starting to feel presidential in a way, some of his speak. Did I miss that? I mean, it seemed like he was trying to appease the European Union and not spit in their faces. I thought he was going to do.
Maybe a little bit, but then he couldn't help himself. And for 90 minutes, it was more about, quite frankly, bashing other people, bashing other countries. So I don't think that was, taken very well by anybody in the EU, by anybody that was in Davos. And I think that may be part of what the market doesn't like. And Steve, you said this just a couple minutes ago, is the market starting to, um, let's say, get numb or immune to what he's saying? And is the market starting to
Yeah.
say, hey, this isn't so good here? I think another thing that kind of turned the market here was you had Ken Griffin come on, right? Ken
Yeah.
Griffin is a big supporter of Trump, right? He came on and said, you know what? We're getting this data now that, yeah, the tariffs are being paid by you, by me, the American consumer, not by the companies. We've seen that headline before. You've seen it on many news sources. Now it's coming right from the horse's mouth. So it was not, I think it was more than just coincidence that the market started to give some back when he said that. And that's just indicative, I think, of the economic kind of backdrop that we're in right now.
Yeah, and I, when I hear people like Ken Griffin talk about that, he didn't hold anything back. I mean, he was pretty
No,
harsh on the president, and
for sure.
speaking in Davos like that, that seemed to be a little bit more than I expected on that. All right, Scott, let's get to it. Look over there for me if you don't mind. Look at the VIX pit over there. Tell me what's going on over there.
The VIX pit is actually pretty quiet right now. I know that when we saw the rally up, there was actually a bunch of put buyers that came
Mm,
in. Now you have to remember, VIX is really kind of opposite of what we think of other markets. So if people are buying puts in the VIX, that means their intent is that the market's going to continue higher and volatility is going to go down. That was pretty short-lived earlier. That,
okay.
like I said, we were down at just over 17 and we're just approaching 19 again right now. So that was pretty short-lived, but we did see a lot of put buyers about an hour and a half or so ago.
And
But
I and
right
I
now I'm looking over there and it's pretty quiet.
and listening to you talk, I actually went and bought the Qs here. I think I actually went even stronger to TQQQ because I think now that this the selling is done, I think that maybe the buyer step back in here a little bit. Okay, so let's talk about this, Scott. You look at and you always say it all the time. You buy volatility when you can, not when you have
Well,
to, right? Thinking about the future here, January is usually whatever happens in January, the markets usually listen to the rest of the year, right? So
it,
as
it
January
is it is a good indicator typically, yes.
All right. So as January goes, so goes the markets. The old adage. Talk to me a little bit. It's January 21st. Only got 10 more days at the end of the month. You feeling good about January or feeling bad about January?
I'm feeling pretty neutral. I think if you took a poll and asked people how has the market performed so far, I would bet 80% of the people would say, "Oh, we're down." Especially after yesterday, right? If you exclude what happened yesterday, the market I think was actually slightly up, slightly positive for the month, but it just doesn't feel that way. There is just this negative tone. You look at what happened with the big bank stocks, right? Decent earnings, honestly, decent earnings, but the market didn't like it. We have next week, we have Apple, Meta, Microsoft next week. Google or Alphabet is the week afterwards. Those could be the ones that determine what happens in the month of January. And as it stands right now, boy, the market, unless there is a major outperformance and a great look ahead or a great guidance, market's pretty unforgiving right now.
Yeah, and earlier this morning, Howard Greenberg asked me what sector or what was I looking at in the markets, and I said it's a stock picker's market. I don't think it's really a sector market. Am I right or wrong here on that?
It is definitely a stock picker's market right now, and it's a tough one. It is really a tough one. I mean, just take Google for example. Yesterday in the sell-off, sure, it got hit. Today, Google rallied back earlier about $9, while Apple, especially Amazon, didn't really move. So I think even within sector, it is very, very much a stock picker's market.
And I'm gonna try to pull up that for everybody because we'll look at Google too. And while we talk about Google, I have to ask the question. The finally, after I don't know how many years, the man has been the myth, the legend, Mr. Warren Buffett himself, finally stepped down a few weeks ago, and there's Google here now, returning back to the norm here a little bit. I got to ask about the new look here, Kraft Heinz, KF.
I was just going to say the same thing. We saw that announcement this morning. They filed to get rid of everything.
Yeah, and we see now Kraft Heinz now down almost 6% here. It's
I
had a
mean,
rough,
that's
yeah.
that Steve. That chart looks like me hitting the top of the mountain in Vale or Beaver Creek and making my way down to the bottom. I mean,
Figured.
that's a bad looking chart.
All right. So the question I have, Scott, is not about Kraft Heinz, but it's about the biggest position that they have, and that's Coca-Cola.
So he has had that forever.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything that he is changing that. I don't know once he's gone if the new regime at Berkshire is going to have a different outlook. Um, I mean, he's had that forever. In fact, I go back 30 plus years when I was trading right here on the Cboe floor and actually trading Coca Cola options. I was selling, as were the other market makers. we would sell puts directly to Warren Buffett every year. He did it through Goldman Sachs, but these were every year he would come in and just buy puts 15, 20% below the market in Coca-Cola just to have his hedge, just to have, as we, as you and I just said, buy it when you can, not when you have to. So I don't know how they're going to unload this if they ever would. I mean, capital gains is probably monstrous. Not that that's the biggest concern to them. I'm sure they can deal with that, but I haven't seen anything that they're unloading it. Have you? And as
Not
we speak, by the way,
oh, that's why I'm asking.
S and P's are almost unchanged now.
Yeah, and I'm going long now. I think the selling is done here. And for those of you who don't know, I'm going to put the link up here so you can click on it right now. You can click on Prosper Trading. He is the CEO of Prosper Trading. Scott Bauer has been trading. Look, he was the little company called Amazon. Yeah, Scott Bauer was the first one to trade Amazon's.
That is very true.
Yep, and there it is. Listen, go on there, click on that button link for Prosper Trading. You'll see Scott, and I will share my screen here, and I'll there you go. There's Scott Bauer there himself. Then that sharp looking jacket there with a big OP on it. And prospertrading.com as well is their website. You can go right now to the website. And also, they've got several coaches over there. We all know Charlie Moon and Mike Shore and Howard. They've got the whole team over there. You can all hit them up, and they'll help you with trading. So prospertrading.com. I'll also put that link as well in there so you guys can click on that link right now. Make sure you subscribe and like their team as well, because we were all friends here at Quasar Markets.
Absolutely.
All right, Scott, keep us going. Turn that machine back on. We want the buyers back in for me, my man.
Well, you know what? I'm going to step aside so everybody can actually see. Well, now, of course, it gets quiet, but just 30 seconds ago, it was really, really loud. A couple big orders, which just came into the pit. But I'll step aside here, and for people that have never ever seen live trading, have only seen it in a movie like Trading Places or whatever, this is the absolute ultimate definition of capitalism in our markets. Free trade, open outcry. This is the only place where it still exists.
And I love it. And I've been to SIBO a few times. As you know, the new one. I grew up in Southern Illinois myself, and it doesn't smell like a locker room anymore. And it's
it does not. It definitely does not. The new space here is, as with everything else, it's awesome.
And if you get a chance, as you are out there, you're in Chicago, and you want to hit up Scott,
hit me up.
He'll be more than happy to take you to the floor. Yep.
Yep, I'm actually doing that this afternoon for a few people that are in from out of town. And again, people that have never seen live trade or don't really understand that it actually still happens. Here it is.
All right, Scott, my friend for many, many years, and friend of Quasar Markets as well. Scott Bauer, we'll see you here next week, my man.
I appreciate it so much, Steve. Take care.